The QPR podcast is sponsored by Grant Harrod Lerman Davis, accountants and tax advisors for individuals and businesses. The Harrod in that title is Jeremy, who's a partner and mad QPR fan who goes to both home and away games. If you want expert advice and a free consultation, phone Jeremy on 01895 633 033 or go to ghld.uk.com.
QPR, QPR, Twin Park Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to the QPR podcast. This is our second go at recording this podcast this evening. The first bit you'll never hear, not because it's hilarious or too rude for TV or radio or whatever, but because it was boring. We messed it up. We spent 5 minutes repeating ourselves. So this is our new introduction. I'm David Fraser. I'm a QPR fan. I'm joined by the other three founders of the QPR podcast, and we have a special guest tonight, Johnny Mack.
Hello.
Welcome, Johnny. You sit where?
Well, I'm going to change where I sit.
This was part of the reason why we've had to re-record it. But you sit where, Johnny?
I sit in Ellerslie Road, and I think that's as broad as I'm going to go.
Which block?
In the corner. Oh, yeah. In the home end.
What sort of R or S sort of area?
It's one of those.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
And just for reference,
I think we sing for part of the song, you know, where you sit.
Yeah.
Just for reference, where does everyone else sit?
P block.
P block is Chris Charles.
G block.
G block.
Yes.
Is Paul Finney.
All over the place. X.
All over the place. X. Where is X?
Near the away fans.
I thought you used to be an R, didn't you?
Yeah, I used to be R, but not anymore.
Okay.
That's like where the TV little gantry studio
not far
is.
from there.
Yeah. I'm in N. Upstairs. Right.
Nobody cares about you.
No, it's true. So with me and Johnny is Chris Charles from BT Sports.
Hello.
Paul Finney from Indiars.
They know that already because I just told them where I sit.
Yes.
Yes.
And Chris Mendes from ITV Sport.
Hello.
With the new lovely haircut, I have to say.
New lovely haircut.
About a month old.
So Chris Mendes is the heartthrob of the podcast. I mean, it's not hard, and
He
there's not
doesn't
much
like it when you say
competition.
that.
Heartthrob of radio.
He doesn't like it.
No.
Why?
Well, he didn't. I know.
Because he's more than just a good-looking boy, right? Is that what we're saying?
No.
No.
He is. He is a QPR bimbo.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
No. Right. We'll talk about Saturday and all that in a second. Let me remind everyone, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do at QPR Pod. You can search up all our old episodes at qprpod.co.uk. And if you go on Facebook, look for the new QPR podcast, you'll find us there. We're very grateful to be sponsored tonight by a QPR fan, no less. So this episode of the QPR podcast is sponsored by Grant Harrod Lerman Davis. They're accountants and tax advisors. But the Harrod bit, as you probably heard in the ad, is Jeremy Harrod, who's been a QPR fan forever. He's a partner, he's a mad QPR fan, goes home and away, and he, as his day job, provides expert advice. If you want a free consultation, you can find these guys and Jeremy at ghld.uk.com. Right, thank you to them. Let's talk about Saturday. 4-3, not a usual 4-3. Chris Charles turns the page of his notepad, glances down at his notes, and gets ready to begin.
Yeah. It's not really that dramatic. I don't really need any notes. I mean, it was terrible. It was great. It was terrible. It was awful. It was brilliant. It was bad, and then it was fantastic. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah. It wasn't like a typical humdinger of a 4-3, was it?
No.
Yeah, 4-3.
It wasn't. I tell you, I mean, we're going to pick this to pieces, I know, and we haven't got a guest tonight, so I think all five of us can have our say on the game. But first of all, what I want to say is the fans 2-0 behind. I was expecting boos ringing around the stadium, which wouldn't have been out of place really, but I have to say I thought, at least from where I was sat, and I wasn't in my usual seat this week, more of that later, I thought the fans were brilliant and they actually got behind the team at 2-0, started singing, and the players seemed to respond in kind, and and then Jet did the business.
Johnny?
Yeah, I think I'd echo a lot of that. If it felt a bit Sunday League to me, with after 10 minutes, I hadn't seen the most of the last game. I think coming off the back of the last game, I think the players probably wanted to put on a bit of a show, and it probably didn't go to plan for the first 10. So yeah, credit to them for turning it around and bringing it back. And I think in patches it was exciting, and in patches it was a little bit sort of depressing.
I'm not sure I felt what Chris said. I felt the knives were being sharpened at 11 minutes or whenever it was.
I've just had Finney in my ear. I was in the school end for the first time ever, and because basically we did the Tiger Cubs walk, so we sat with them. And for where I was, they at 2-0 down, there was fans singing.
Yeah, I didn't feel that. What about you, Finn?
Yeah, okay.
Well, I did the Tiger Cubs walk as well, but I scored around the pitch. And
yeah, we saw that.
So you looked quite lost. I was worried about you.
I wasn't lost. I was just trying to find me, get a steward to take me to my seat. Because no offence, but I want to sit in my seat. Anyway,
None taken, mate.
It was either you or other people that were around. Anyway, but I thought it was quite vicious when the second goal went in. First goal was vicious-ish. The second goal was toxic.
Yeah.
Really angry. Really, really not happy. And that's sad to see it, really, because I don't know if it really helps. And
it did. Obviously, it did help.
Well,
I'm not sure it did. It felt coincidental
I was quite
that we scored.
shocked at how venomous it was.
It was despite the hate, not because of it.
Then there was a few people trying to start that song off again. It was at Fulham, which for one off,
yeah,
you kind of got, but kind of at home matches, no, you shouldn't be singing.
I heard that. I did hear that, but the acoustics either must be really bad, or maybe I was bending down to do my shoelace or something. But,
yeah, I heard it.
I heard "Come On You R's" when we were 2-0 down. Did no one else hear that?
I think where I sit. Well, I'm still not sure exactly where I sit, but it is where it is where the singing does originate from, in the corner of Ellerslie Road and the Loft. And you're right, we did hear the fateful song that was heard at Fulham or wherever it was. But I think after one or two renditions, it calmed, and straight away they were sort of back behind the team. And
I think it was really nervous. I think no one knows how this season is going to pan out. Let's face it, none of us have got a clue how it is. But then saying that, how many Championship clubs can fill £20 million worth of talent like Fer and Sandro just like that and say, right, come on? So it's a very strange position we find ourselves in, where we are rebuilding, we are kind of rebranding the club, taking it back to where it belonged, as in part of being a people's club again. But at the same time, we've got very expensive players that come on the pitch and do a job. I think some of them aren't doing.
That's part of Ramsey's problem, though, isn't it? He's got players like Fer and Sandro in the squad, and you can't really ignore them. At the same time, they're not going to be there for very long. They might be there till January, end of the season. If a push, we're not going to go up this season, so he has to start to build a team for next season.
You don't think we're going to go up this season?
No, definitely not. No.
None of us thought that.
We just about scraped to win against one of the worst teams.
We've all got such short memories, because we sat round this table, or wherever we were probably in your shop actually. We all sat round this table, and we said, key priority, don't do
Wigan. Yeah, but you expect the Phillips and Austin to go by then.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I think expectations change certainly for me, once Austin, Fer, Sandro, and Phillips. Once they'd all stayed, you had the players. You had you had Phillips tweeting once Charlie stayed #promotion. So and you had the chief who came on here saying that yes, they were going for promotion. So the expectations changed within the players as well, not just the fans. So I think that's the difference. Before the season started, yes, consolidation. The aim was not to get relegated, as far as I was concerned, and just stabilise, transition. And in a way, that sort of hampered Ramsey and co, because they're sort of, it was not going to be no pressure, because you still have people with expectations, but without any of those players, you wouldn't be expected to steamroll the division.
Is the expectation for him to do this long-term fixing job, or for him to get us up, or both?
Well, it's a good question.
Neither.
I mean, there's a very good interview by Dave McIntyre the other day. I don't know if you saw that, but
he said it depends. You can't judge him on the job he's doing unless you know what the job is.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Okay. No, I totally accept that, but I do think that the goalpost, pardon the pun, moved slightly when we kept hold of all these players, and it's if Man United keep hold of, they say they're going to have a bit of a cut costs and all the rest of it, and then end up hanging on to Rooney and all their best players, then fans again there are going to think the same thing. And these are essentially, arguably, apart from Forlan, maybe our 4 best players. So aren't we right to expect
Do you expect us to go up now, Chris?
But we were so.
Hang on.
Do I expect? It's a difficult one. If the players are still here in January, we're in the top 6, then we've got a shout at the playoffs. I'm not sure about automatic. I think the problem is that we've got a terrible defence at the moment, and which needs sorting out.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Chris.
Go on, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, I understand what you're saying about keeping our best players and expectation and all that, but if you look at, we had all of those players last season,
and we went down,
and that team would have probably finished in the bottom half of the championship last season. It was that bad. It was.
The structure is listen. Chris Ramsey needs help from Les Ferdinand. That's the bottom line. Les Ferdinand needs to step up for Chris, because Chris has taken a lot of flack that Les can stop quite easily, because Les has got the respect of the fans. He's got the ability to stand up. I think Chris has taken flack. In some ways, his substitutions can be. Look, fans aren't stupid, but we've got to realise where are we going to end up? What is this journey going to take us? Are we going to stay here for a couple of years in the Championship so we can rebuild the youth? If so, that needs to come out. But with that, we need to start selling players, and we've got we still spent 13 to 14 million quid in the summer. That's not a team that's playing for mid-table. That's a team that's going from promotion in the Championship. But with the players we've already got. Sorry.
So. I haven't seen a great deal of football this year for one reason or another, but it feels like at the start of the season we were rebuilding with the expectation of Phillips going, Charlie leaving, and we brought in all these new players who were trying to establish themselves. We weren't considering probably Phillips, although he was playing, Sandro as part of that squad, and suddenly on Saturday we're now considering these guys who haven't figured in the first sort of 9 games. And what is our strongest team? What is the He's probably got sort of 6 or 7 midfielders he could play across that 4, and I'm not sure he really knows his best team. I'm not really sure he was considering those as part of the team at the start of the season. So what do you play between now and December, January?
But then you've also got to play in the fact that playing one up front in the Championship is a wee bit ridiculous.
Agreed.
So there's lots, and the defence needs sorting out. I mean, I even thought perhaps move Henry to right back. I don't know.
We played one up front.
That's not a bad shout, because I mean he was clearly right to drop Perch. I mean he was the biggest weak link. Weak link in the team as far as I was concerned.
One of
and to be strange, it's another one of those signings where he comes to QPR and everyone thinks, he's going to do all right. He's got Player of the Year twice at Wigan. Comes to QPR and suddenly he's rubbish. And I don't really get that, But moving the Chief to right back, I'm not sure that's the right decision. Certainly not long term. I mean, as far as the defence goes, I know I'm probably going to get shouted down for this, but I'd quite like to see Clint Hill come in at least for 2 or 3 games, partner the Chief in the middle, and have a bit of shouting, a bit of organisation.
He needs to come back, and it's not perhaps that he will prevent us initially from letting in 2 goals every game. But he needs to come back to organise that defence.
But you can't take Hull out though. Hull's done well every time he's played.
But you know what? When we let a goal in, they're all just sort of looking at each other. There's no one organising it. There's no.
Don't think Hull was that great on. I don't think any of them were. But Angela for me has got to be the first name to be dropped. I mean, that 3rd goal, he basically just didn't fancy it. He ducked out of the way from what I could see.
Like did it for them.
And since he's been here, I mean, I think he's had maybe one good game, but he was supposed to be this brilliant ball playing centre back, but I haven't seen any of that. And
also from a distance he looks like Yossi Benayoun as well.
But we've conceded more we've conceded more goals than any other team in the division. We've scored more goals than any other team as well, which is bizarre, but they're not bad players. Angela did well at Watford last season. I think maybe Ramsey needs to swallow his pride and get someone in who can organise them defensively as a coach.
Who's our leader on the pitch? You see, this is potentially controversial, and I love the guy. We all love Anua, but I look at him and I wonder if he's burdened by that captaincy, because I watched him when we let in those goals, and I watched him at Fulham, and he's not yet sort of eased into that role of ordering them.
Trying to get that role off him, are they? No one's trying to get that role.
No.
Who, apart from him, who else is there in the squad that you would say? Kanchelski, he's on loan. Can a loan player be a captain? No. So, who else is there?
Well, then I suppose you go to the sort of Tarapt model and you just have your best player
Henry's been one of the worst
as
players
your captain.
In the last 5 games. So,
yeah, I agree.
it's a tricky one. But then, you know,
he's been one of the worst players, but he always seems to be the first name on the team sheet.
Can I ask, because a lot of focus on the defence.
You can ask what you want, John.
A lot of focus on the defence here, and they're being chastised quite a lot from what I can see. But the centre of the midfield for me on Saturday was where I think we lost a lot of the game, because you had Henry who...
We didn't lose the game, by the way. Yeah, no, go on.
Well, we lost a lot of the game.
Yeah. Sorry.
Keep it coming.
I ruined your flow, yeah.
Yeah, you have ruined my flow.
Sorry. The midfield.
But I actually felt the midfield with... I don't know what people think of Tozer, if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it.
That's not how we pronounce him in N block. Yeah.
So good. Tosser and Henry in the middle. For me, we seem to initially, he was never in the right place to receive the ball from the back. He seems to be the guy on the pitch who was supposed to be the ball player and create, get us playing. I didn't really see that. When he did get the ball, his long balls were a little bit wayward once or twice. Henry, as you've already said, seems to have, from the best player for me, one of the best players last season into I don't know what this season, and there wasn't any creativity, so he ended up going long and bypassed the midfield for a lot of the game. So I don't see the style of play, being a team that is going to challenge for promotion, because our patterns of play don't really, we don't seem to have it. We don't seem to have one, and that midfield keeps changing as well. So,
yeah, but then you've got a situation where you've had like Emmanuel-Thomas missing out in games, and he comes in on Saturday, he does that. You think, what the hell was that about? He was actually magnificent on Saturday.
I thought he was
deceivingly good.
And you think, if we're going to play the one up front, he's the best suited player for that.
Think you could play up front with Charlie?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
I think at home, definitely.
Yeah, why not? But that system's, and I have to say, like, Cherry's goal. I haven't seen it. That was just amazing. I mean, amongst all this, the defence isn't great. The midfield's still a wee bit leaky and doesn't do things. Some bloody goals in there.
Well, I mean, that was one benefit of it being in the school end, apart from not hearing.
Apart from hearing
what
chants,
everybody
it didn't happen.
Why do they turn around? Clearly they probably lost the toss, but I can't bear the turnaround at the start of the game.
I hate that. Yeah. I hate us shooting towards the wrong end.
That's happened a few times this season. I reckon what they're trying to do is they're trying to play kind of mind games with us.
Yeah,
which Harry Redknapp did by himself very well.
Yeah,
people don't need to join it. No, and yeah, I hate that as well. Actually, to be honest, but let Chris come back to what he was talking.
Come on, Chris. Come on, Chris. You're gagging really to get this point out.
Really good.
I've forgotten now.
First show nerves. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was saying, but we were right in line with it, and that was just it was all the way in. Even it was going just wide, and somehow I don't know. It just
which goal? Cherry's goal.
Cherry's goal. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely brilliant. But I was just saying with Jet,
with his right foot, he's left-footed, right?
Yeah, but Jet was absolutely phenomenal. And I've got to say, I did mention this when we went along to the Open Day and saw him in training, because a lot of people on the message boards have sort of perpetuated this myth that he's lazy, he's slow, and he's this and he's that. But when I went along and saw them training firsthand, I kept quite an eye on him. And he was training harder than the rest of them, and I thought he looked really good. And I was quite surprised that he didn't get a chance. But
I thought he was our best defender on Saturday.
Well, quite, yeah. I mean, he was everywhere. He was really...
Sorry? Yeah, that header out. Yeah. Finney hasn't got his own mic today.
Maybe he needs to get the Matthew Rose song.
Yeah,
it's because Chris, for some reason, when Chris is speaking, he's leaning over like I'm going to.
Finney and Chris are sharing a microphone, which we may say is an unexpected gift, but it means that we can't hear Finney when he's talking. But back to Jet.
Perhaps you should share it with him then.
Yeah, you're right. Back to Jet. I thought he was brilliant on Saturday. He does have this reputation.
But then why did it take him so long to get inside? Then that's what you got to ask yourself. What? Because
he's one of those players that sooner or later his career's going to go one of two ways. He's either going to take off and just be incredible, or you're just going to forget about it and never hear him again. He was one of those players in the Youth Cup for Arsenal, scored in every round. He was going to be like, everyone fancied him to break into their team and be incredible, and maybe with a run of 10-15 games in QPR's first team, he'd get to do that. Maybe Charlie Austin's injury is a bit of a blessing that way.
Well, I mean, it's unbelievable sometimes if you listen to this podcast or you read the message boards that we actually won that game because, and I know we're right to sort of have a go at the defence, the midfield, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, we did win. Jet was fantastic, and we've scored 4 goals without Charlie Austin, so that's not bad, is it?
But the reality is, we beat a team in the bottom 5 of the bottom 6 of the table.
Yeah, but anyone can beat anyone in this division, can't they?
And we've seemed to have fared better against the teams above us than the teams below us this season.
It's funny though, because you were saying this is not a team that's going to win promotion, and I agree. I don't think we are, but we went through that last time we did win promotion from the Championship. We went through the whole season feeling pretty much exactly the same way. We're like, we're kind of in the top 6. I know we're not at the moment, but we weren't happy with the way we were playing, especially after McLaren left as coach. Under Redknapp, we were kind of like scraping results and just getting a win, even though we weren't playing very well. It was really important to beat Bolton, especially with the 2 week gap. If we hadn't, we'd be 6 points maybe off the playoffs.
But this league is mad, though. I mean, Bolton's gone into the bottom 3. If it had been us.
Well, Fulham got done 3-0 at home 4 days
Wolves,
after they beat us.
God, you were really excited to say that, weren't you, David? Sorry.
Sorry.
No, but they did. But then again, saying that that's a Championship, it's kind of one of them leagues that. I mean, it's like I knew when he came on and said, we've only got X amount of games, but right, that's the good thing about the Championship. Unlike the Premier League, where you can go on a really bad run and it takes weeks to come out of. In the Championship, there's always the next game to get right. Birmingham is going to be hard. Mm-hmm. They're decent, and
But Wolves was going to be hard, and we won 3-2 there.
I know. I'm just saying.
10 games in, Ramsey. What's the something we talk about every week, but it is we have to reflect really what everybody's talking about and what people are talking about on message boards and all the rest of it. 10 games in, how are we feeling about Ramsey?
I feel I feel exactly the same as I did at the start of the season. I think you have to give him the whole season, regardless. Maybe if we're like rock bottom, like 6 points adrift of safety, then maybe you can look at changing it. But I don't think that's going to happen. And you just give him the whole season, see how it goes. I think the way people feel about it.
But you haven't. You have a clear expectation of us not going up. In which case, you're fine as long as we're not going to go down. You're happy to give Ramsey the time he needs.
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
Not everybody feels like that.
No, exactly. It feels like at the moment people are happy if we're winning. Well, they're like satisfied if we're winning, and absolutely pissed off if we're not. As soon as we go down, they're just like get rid of him straight away.
Finney?
I wasn't expecting that. I was listening to Chris. Listen, at some point, the board and the fans, we have to be patient with somebody, and we have to hope that someone's going to get it right. Because, like Sunderland today, yesterday sacked another manager. You keep going through managers, you don't go anywhere. And it's the same with youth team coaches. We keep changing youth team coaches. We keep changing managers. We need stability.
We had 3 years with Redknapp. We had a couple of years with Warnock. Didn't we have stability with Redknapp and still nothing was sort of solved long term?
I think with Redknapp, he kind of bluffed it a lot. I mean, if Harry Redknapp was called something else like David, and was a young coach, he would have been sacked for some of them performances. He got away with it because Harry Redknapp is full of bull, really, and he gets away with it because of his ego side of things. But that football was not good. But he did the job he was designed to do, which is to get us up. If he hadn't got us up, he'd had the most expensive team in the Championship that never actually got up.
But his job was to get us up.
Exactly.
Whereas Chris Ramsey's job, supposedly, is to be part of that team that repairs the club.
We still spend so much money in the summer. This is what our answer to everything is throw players at.
But I think the expectation was that we'd actually sell a lot of big name players and recoup some of that cash, which we clearly didn't do for one reason or another.
Where did we spend?
Finney, we haven't spent. We haven't
really spent 14 million,
but not net spend because we recouped money.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, but that's not a team that's.
They expected Charlie to go on loan. They expected Fur to go on loan. Probably expected to.
Don't forget Poulter. We paid 1.2 million for Poulter.
He must not fancy him. I know Emmanuel.
Probably he's been injured.
Has he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But you forget that Che was cost money. These wee deals, all right, in the scheme of things, but it's still a lot of money for Championship clubs to spend.
Yeah, and it may change again in January, and 2 or 3 of them may still go. And I think they're probably working on offloading them purely for the wage, for the wage bill.
It's like, do you remember when Holloway took over that time? And we were already down by the time he came in. We gave Jerry way too many games, and we should have got rid of Jerry a lot earlier and give Ian a chance to actually come in and do a job. You kind of feel that because Ian managed somehow to get a team out that season to play, because we had no money, we're administration, that everyone just came together. The money's ruined us. Our expectations are way too high at times. We're still spending massive amounts of money on wages, even though we're getting rid of players and stuff like that. And the psychology of the whole club has changed because of the money. And the fans, not only is the team in transition, so is the fans. It's a bit odd.
But you still got half the fans who are expecting us to go up based on what they think the squad is capable of.
The fella behind me the other week was talking about Balotelli, where he was. Why can't we get him down the Rangers? And I'm like,
Balotelli.
yeah,
As what?
people's expertise as a loan.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, when Brendan Rodgers was sacked on Sunday, of people tweeting, "I'll take him at QPR, just get him in."
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, are they serious?
Years ago we were lucky to get anyone that played like 5 or 6 games at a decent level. I mean, it's.
But I'll be honest, I don't think Ramsey's job really is just about the first team. It's a lot about the first team, but I think it's about building that infrastructure and getting some of those youth players and creating this
that's
success.
what we're told
plan.
is his job.
Absolutely, and I think that the expectation probably from the board is not promotion, but clearly not to be in stability and mid, probably between mid-table and the playoffs is acceptable, but clearly below that is not acceptable. So I think there is a level to where the board will think that he should finish, and if he doesn't deliver, then like anyone else, he doesn't perform, he'll probably get the boot. But
well, in which case, on that basis, after 10 games, he is delivering, isn't he?
I agree. I'm not overly happy, but I'm not unhappy with his what he's delivered.
I feel sorry for Ramsey though, because he's not picking the players. As he told us when he was on the podcast, it's not him in charge, it's Ferdinand in charge. He is essentially a head coach who coaches the players, but he's not the guy pulling the strings. And if things do go wrong, but he's still going to be the one that always gets the blame. The fans aren't going to blame Les Ferdinand because he's a club legend.
So wasn't his choice to put Tosser in on Saturday then? Is that what you're...
No, I think he obviously makes. I don't think it was a decision to sign him, but it might have been a decision to put him in.
Well, no, Les brings the players in.
So someone tweeted me on Saturday straight after the result and said, "I'm still not happy with Ramsey. They got away with it. The result was a sticking plaster." And I thought, isn't that exactly what Ramsey's job is this season? Isn't he supposed to be applying 46 sticking plasters so that they can repair the club in the long term? Isn't that the idea?
Yeah, and I agree that is the idea, and I'm not happy with him to answer. Unhappy with him particularly, and like Chris said, I mean, we do need stability at some point. And again, you had fans calling for Sam Allardyce to come in, and it's like, bloody hell, we can't go for all go for all that palaver again. But the difficulty, as I said, is because of the players that have stayed. In the fans' view, the goals have changed rather than just consolidation. But I'm sure, as far as the board are concerned, they're still, and so far as Les Ferdinand's concerned, they're still treading along the same path. And if we keep us in mid-table, we don't get relegated. We sell whoever we need to sell again at the end of the season. Then they'll think it's job done.
Okay. You might have this as your RZM, but I'm going to ask you about it now. You two, I'm looking at Chris and Paul, did the walk on Saturday. So this was Tiger Feet 7 in aid of the Tiger Cubs. How'd it go?
Well, for some it was a breeze. I mean,
so you walked from Harlington to the ground?
Yeah, I did quite easily, and it was fine.
How far was it?
I carried Chris for most of the way.
Absolute rubbish.
How far was it?
13 miles.
At what time did you set off?
About 9 I think we left. We were supposed to leave at 8:30. It was a weird one because I had to leave Barnet really early and then obviously get across London and met Colin and a few others in the train, and then we came and met up at Harlington with a few other people. Then we went down and we started the walk, and it was really nice. Actually, to be fair, it was different doing it in your home ground. I mean, Chris can say it better than me. I'm just a blinking idiot here. But it's nice to walk onto the pitch, and the backing we got from the fans was actually... It was almost a dream come true to walk on the pitch and actually see people clapping you. I'm thinking, I haven't actually done anything. I've just walked from the training ground, but thanks. And we did pretty, and it was nice. And it was, getting clapped up the road was particularly nice as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of a bit weird. It was a lot of mixture of emotions there, sort of intense embarrassment, and then quite emotional because basically the kids from the team walked the last 2 miles with us from Acton Park. And we're walking. We were literally walking up the Uxbridge Road to see the Queen's Park Rangers, and when we came down, there was people clapping us, and the mascots were coming over and mucking about with the kids, and it was a great day, and it's the 7th one we've done. We started off with like maybe 10 of us, I think, and it's now grown to there was about 40 people walking, and included in the walk there was, because the QPR community is not just the Tiger Cubs, which is if anyone doesn't know, it's the team
for the kids with Down syndrome. But they also have like a mental health team, and three or four of the people from the mental health team are walking with us. And what happens with the walk is you sort of move up and down, and you get to talk to most people, apart from Finney. No, you get to talk to most. You get to talk to most people, and some of the stories these guys had was, absolutely horrendous. And a couple of them said to me that QPR have basically saved their life. That at last they feel a part of something. They feel a part of a community, part of a team. And I just want to again reiterate that to Andy Evans and to Fiona Hodgson and everyone else. And to Connor, who the coach of the Tiger Cubs, what a fantastic job they're doing. And yeah, it was going to be the R's End, but I'll just say that on the day, so far we've raised over $6,000. The buckets went round, and there's more than £2,000 gone in the buckets.
Brilliant.
And the players have yet to donate. So, Fiona particularly asked me to say a big thank you to all the fans for not just donating, but for supporting them, because it's as much about awareness as anything else. And again, the Bolton fans, like the away fans always do, applauding these kids around the pitch, and it makes them feel $1 million. And I'm going to start crying in a minute, so I'll leave it over to you.
Can I just say one thing about it, though, which is really important, which was this year we were joined by Lee Hughes, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the wrong pronunciation. The CEO at Rangers, who actually is a bit of a challenge because he's a nice fella. And I fear I could be redundant from mourning. And that was a
doubt that.
No,
Did you find it a little bit harder to get up off your bum and celebrate seats after that walk?
It was harder because
celebrate goals. Sorry.
I just went up to him and said, "Oh, by the way, hoops go the whole way round." And I must have said it every 3 miles to him.
You should have said who's.
He did. Yeah, I reminded him at every point, so hopefully he hasn't forgotten that. And fair play to him for doing it. He didn't have to do it. He did it. He joined everyone else. There was no airs and graces. He was immensely great.
He was a lovely fellow. I mean, his sunglasses probably cost more than our whole attire between us. But he was a really nice, down to earth, lovely guy. And we did chat to him about QPR, but we weren't interviewing, so it'd be wrong to say what he said. I think on the part. It wasn't anything bad. It was all positive.
You can't say that. Everyone's now thinking, what did he say, Chris?
Yeah, now we all want to know. So tell us.
Well, he was just saying what the club was saying, just saying that this, you can't keep on spending infinite amounts of money, and what we all know basically. And he was saying the right things, but equally he knew that I do the podcast, so he's not going to tell me some massive exclusive. But he was a nice player, and Andy Sinton also did it.
Brilliant.
And again, he didn't have to do it, and he was up and down chatting to everybody, and fair play to both.
Last thing I'm going to say on this is that the walk is nothing. The walk's easy for us. The people who do the real job are the people who go week in, week out and help these kids and work with them and give them a sense of purpose, which is basically that QPR is the best community club in West London, and we're happy to keep it that way.
Anybody that still wants to donate presumably can donate. How do they do that?
Okay, well, the sort of URL to do it is very long and convoluted anyway. The best way is to go to Google and it's Virgin Money, so just type Virgin Tiger Feet 7 and you'll get the page up.
Okay, and one last question, just for, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, Colombo.
It's usually at an away game from Loftus Road to the away ground. Why was it to a home game? Okay,
well, there was a couple of factors. One that I'd love to have gone to Brentford or Fulham the long way round, because obviously you can't just walk 3 miles up the road. But both those games were moved to Friday night, which logistically, when you've got 40 people walking, it's not ideal. Charlton we did a couple of years ago. That was first game of the season, but the main point was it was the Tiger Cub's 7th birthday, and for the first time it meant that they could be totally involved in it, go on the pitch at half time and be there from start to finish. I mean, I would imagine next year we'll go back to walking to an away ground, be it in the Premier League, the Championship or League One, hopefully not the latter.
Actually, to be fair, it was whether it was by design or default, it was brilliant to do a home game. Really, really brilliant. It was actually, there was people in tears who were doing it, and going in and getting that reception from Rangers fans meant a lot, so thank you to everyone who did it.
Very good. Okay, I know that was going to be your R's End. You've got a couple of minutes to think about a new R's End, or you can go straight into it.
Okay.
So we've got about 5 minutes left. This is the R's End, anything and everything you haven't been able to say in the show. Chris Charles, your R's End, go.
I'm not quite sure why Finney's laughing.
You're just about to go into your Ars End, and he's like,
Oh, was it?
in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Brilliant. Sorry, carry on.
No.
Oh,
as
we
in,
let-
we've got 5 minutes
I
left to
see.
record,
Okay,
so we'll
okay.
do the R's end now.
Okay, well, my...
Should we
well,
cut that as well? Nah.
No.
Go on.
That was going to be the R's end. So, to reiterate, thank you to everybody who's given and supported, blah, blah, blah. But Chelsea losing at home and QPR winning at home is always a fantastic day. And I think whatever the case or not for the defence or the midfield or anything else, scoring 4 goals without Charlie is brilliant. Seeing Chelsea lose is hilarious. So, for me, it was a great weekend.
Reminds me of a song.
Yeah.
Johnny.
So Miles End is probably a couple of thank yous. So firstly, thanks for having me on. Secondly, thanks for giving me my own mic and for sharing.
It's absolutely fine.
They probably won't invite me back ever for that. But no, I think, like I say, my expectations are pretty levelled as far as where I think we're capable of finishing this season. Clearly, we're more than capable with the squad we got of getting into the playoffs. But if we're anywhere between mid-table and the playoffs, then I think I'll be happy with that.
Chris?
In my R's end, I'd just like to congratulate Massimo Luongo for his Ballon d'Or nomination.
Yeah.
And
Explain that. What? Someone said this to me. He's up for the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, he's on the
I can't even
shortlist
spell it.
because he won the Gold Cup with Australia. I just hope that FIFA, for once, make a sensible decision and he wins it.
Hang on, this FIFA insensible. I like that. Yeah.
Finney?
Hello, you keeping well? Right. I've got a weird one for my hours in this show because...
But hurry up, we've been ushered out by a cleaner.
Yeah, the lady who's now becoming almost like the fifth Beatle of this podcast, the cleaner who comes to the door and signals us to hurry up, has made her signal. So go on.
With a Kanashnikov, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Sorry to all our listeners in Poland. Go on, Paul.
Kanashnikov?
No, go on.
Where are the
It's
bananas?
not. It's go. You know what's
Obviously
going to
the
happen
hands.
now? When we finish, Finney's going to say, "Oh, was that bad?"
No, listen.
Go on.
My hours end is quite. The goal on Saturday by Che, the best champagne moment I've seen at Rangers. That it will be goal of the season for whatever.
Cherry on the cake.
Yeah. I like my champagne one better. Anyway, and also, like, in some way we're talking Chris Ramsey. Chris Ramsey had a really bad bereavement before the Fulham game and actually flew across the world to go to a funeral and come back. And he didn't want it to come out. He didn't want people to talk about it because he didn't want to have any excuses. So my condolences to the Ramsey family for what they've gone through the last few weeks. It must be tough for him, and I'm personally sorry for his loss. That's all I want to say.
And look, I'm only gonna, from my bit, gonna sort of echo what Johnny and most of us have said, and that I think we just all need to remember the job that Ramsey and Les have been tasked with, which is to get the culture of the club right and to do this repair job. And just remember what we all thought at the start of the season and what we were all saying at the start of the season in terms of what our expectations were. None of us said, let's win the league. And do you remember we did that survey at the end of last season? We surveyed the QPR fans how important it is to you. How important is it for QPR to go straight back up? And I think less than 10% said it was the most important priority. So remember that when we're going off on one about
And
Ramsey.
the good thing about it as well, I've done my bit, is if it carries on the way it is the Premiership, we can stay in the Championship and still play Chelsea next season. That's a win-win.
That's a good place to finish. Gabe, we're almost finishing on time for you. You're not being chased out of the room by...
To be fair, I've hired the cleaner to do my job for me.
Yeah. Fine. Right. Okay. Thank you very much. That's the QPR podcast. We probably won't be back next week because we're usually not on an international week. If we are, we'll let you know. Paul has just said, I want to talk to you about that, which maybe means we might be.
Northern Ireland qualify.
Oh, yeah. Go on. What's the international situation for next week? Go on, tell us.
Basically, we've got to win one game and we're going to France.
So who have you got?
We've got Greece on Thursday, Finland on Sunday, and
You need to win one of them.
yeah, and we're in France.
Greece at home?
Yeah, Greece is at Windsor, and Yeah, Finland is obviously not at Windsor, it's in Finland. But yeah, and I will be at Philomena's for both of them, I hope, in London, having a crack. Last time, probably the 3 QPR fans, we missed the whole game and talked about QPR. Anyway, but yeah, go to France. Weird, we haven't qualified for anything since '86. This is weird. I mean, you lot qualified for everything.
We qualified last February or something. It was ages.
But I know that when we do
now.
qualify, we'll get absolutely stuffed at every game when we get there. But I don't care. At least we're going to be there. Yeah. It's a bit weird.
Well, Portugal qualify on Thursday if they win, so I'll join.
Anyway, I'm fine, Dave. How are you?
Very good. Right, thank you for listening to the QPR podcast. We will see you again in either a week or 2 weeks. We'll let you know on Twitter. Thank you very much for listening. The QPR podcast is a West 12 Media and Burble Media production. The QPR podcast is sponsored by Grant Harrod Lerman Davis, accountants and tax advisors for individuals and businesses. The Harrod in that title is Jeremy, who's a partner and mad QPR fan who goes to both home and away games. If you want expert advice and a free consultation, phone Jeremy on 01895 633 033 or go to ghld.uk.com.
QPR, Chris Rangers are on the up and up. QPR,